Holidaying on Rottnest is not just about exploring. It's a great time to catch up with friends, share a few drinks, trade a few yarns. And I'm really keen to catch us up on some of the changes over here because there's been some big changes to infrastructure, new accommodation, new places to eat, there's new tours. And just recently, a new look museum. No longer the Rottnest Museum. $1 million from the federal government and the combined efforts of many West Australians has resulted in a pretty inspiring destination. Walter, the name Wadjemup, which has been chosen for the museum, we hear that more and more in relation to Rottnest. What does it actually mean?
Simple meaning is where it's a resting place of the spirits as they travel off. So when a person passes, their spirit leaves their body. And in Yunga, our story is that it goes where in other words, where the sun sets. And where the sun sets past that, we call it Mumbagai, it's the horizon. Past that is Korunup Nirigup. So it's our heaven.
Wodja Noongar elder Walter Maguire is one of my favourite West Aussies. And while he does cultural walking tours of the island and Perth, you don't usually find him here in the new museum. But he was instrumental in its creation. With all due respect, it is a lot more inviting than the museum of old. How have you achieved that?
I suppose telling the story of Wadjemup, how the Aboriginal prisoners were treated, what was happening here at the time, and also building into the dreams and aspirations of the elders of past that have gone, what they wanted in this place. You know, just a beautiful old building here that's actually been quite enhanced presentation of everything that's in here.
Do you have a favourite piece in the museum?
I think the highlight for me is the millstone. The millstone was used to make the flour. There were wheat crops, hundreds of acres of wheat, hay, barley that was grown here. This being the old mill store and the storage granary. And to power that, they had the Aboriginal prisoners.
Today, I've also been lucky enough to bump into the person responsible for the curation of the museum pieces, Jane Skippington. Do you think you've captured all the stories about Rottnest?
The history of Rottnest is so rich, it's incredibly complex and detailed. We've captured the grand narratives, but every individual has a special connection to Rottnest. Over time, we'll continue to collect those stories and document them through the museum and the collection. Currently, the museum is made up of both temporary and permanent displays. We have the main social history gallery that carries major stories, themes around internment, the Aboriginal history, World War II, a range of different stories.
Is that how all of these sculptures became part of the displays?
When we first started working on this museum, we were very clear amongst the team that we'd like to not be constrained by traditional ideas of what a museum is. The idea was to give contemporary artists and individuals the opportunity to reflect that history and tell new stories about their perspectives.
I spied this building when we were over filming a little while ago, but just didn't have the time to come and have a closer look. So glad we came in today and had the time for a chat with Walter and Jane. Very lucky. The museum is open daily from 10 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. and entry is by donation. How long does it take to go through the museum? Lots of stories in there. Spend as long as you want. You could come and go if you're here for a couple of days. Do you like this? Sculpture, H-E-R-E. Here. I told the kids to meet me here before we catch the ferry. I'm not thinking my chances are very good at the moment.